A very warm good evening to everyone here who is joining us for our webinar today. My name is Bhavna Dukal and I am here representing the SIUK team. First and foremost, thank you everyone who has joined us for our webinar today, which is on Business and Management in UK by Mr. Scott Parker from King's Business School. Those who would like to study business and management in the heart of London, a city considered as the world's financial capital, this webinar is absolutely suits them. So I welcome Mr. Scott, Ms. Dolan Mitra, Country Advisor India, King's College London, and the team of King's. I also welcome all the students and parents who actually have taken out time for our session today and investing your time during this pandemic. So on that note, few of you may not know what SIUK is and perhaps what we do. So just a quick introduction on SIUK. So SIUK is a global organization with its presence spread across 25 countries. We are the official representatives of UK universities. We assist students across the globe to seek admission in the top universities with our premium servicing from Oxbridge, Russell Group, and other non-Russell Group universities. In case you need extra information on our services, requesting everyone to visit our website, that's www.studying-uk.in. So on that note now, I would like to introduce our key speaker of the webinar today, Mr. Scott Parker, who is a marketing manager of King's Business School. And before I hand over this session to him, just please make a note that this webinar will be followed by Q&A session, which allows you to ask any question you may have regarding courses, entry requirements, scholarships, placements, and applications for September 2021, January 2022 intake. So, Scott, the floor is all yours.
Great, thank you. Good morning, or I suppose afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. It's really great to be kind of here to be able to present to you today. I apologize that I'm not able to join you via video. I'm having a few technical issues and I'm signed in by phone this morning. So unfortunately I can't be on video, but I will be able to still take you through the presentation anyway. I'm joined by my colleagues, Dolan Mitra, who's also from the marketing team, and also Harshita, who's one of our student ambassadors, one of our postgraduate ambassadors. And she'll be kindly operating the slides for me, and she will present to you for a section as well about the student experience and some student life at King's. Okay, so if we could have the first slide, please. Okay, great. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to take you through the courses that we have on offer at King's Business School, both at the undergraduate and postgraduate level, and also a little bit about the business school itself. So I'll just open up firstly with a little bit about King's Business School. Now, King's Business School launched in the September of 2017 as a standalone business school, but really we've actually been teaching business and management for much longer than that as part of another faculty at King's. So even though we're still, you know, kind of not even 5 years old as a business school yet, we're still in a massive growth phase. We actually have been teaching management business for much longer than that, since kind of like the 1980s, and even before that. And King's as an institution is nearly 200 years old. So we're a university with a very long heritage and quite a long history. But with King's Business School, we're aiming to provide students with a unique and relevant educational experience, grounded in the foundations of the social science disciplines, interwoven with opportunities for practical business and personal skills development. So really, our focus is on students as a whole, building both kind of, you know, both quantitative and qualitative skills, along with some additional professional development to help put students in the best place that they can for when they graduate from one of our courses. The school, we have over 100 academic staff members, and it says 40 professional services staff. We've actually, in terms of the last kind of maybe year or two of recruitment, we're probably closer to 60. And we have teaching staff from all over the world. We're also, just a point here, a university focused on both teaching and research. You'll find that a lot of UK institutions actually, particularly in the Russell Group, are what are called research universities. And there are other universities that focus predominantly more on teaching. Now, The benefit of coming to a teaching and research institution like King's is that the academics that will teach you on your courses are at the cutting edge of their own research areas. So they're performing their own research, and they're also at the forefront of business and management research, and that all gets passed down to you as the student. That's not to say that teaching universities that just solely focus on teaching aren't good, but it's much more of a benefit to you from the research angle that these kind of key researchers are actually giving all of this knowledge to you through your course. So could I have next slide, please? Okay, so why study business? I'll give you a little bit of a background as to why you should look at studying business in the first place. What are the kind of key benefits? So understanding contemporary business and management gives you a really powerful set of tools, but it also gives you an insight into just how the world works more generally. Kind of the business landscape of the world is, business, finance, all of that kind of stuff is a large driver of some of the most powerful systems that affect our world today. And really studying business is a great way of understanding that further. It also, in terms of skills, it gives you a really broad base of skills, not just in learning about specific business areas like, for instance, finance or marketing or human resource management or entrepreneurship. It gives you broad disciplines within. You'll learn about kind of economics, but also sociology and psychology and social sciences. It gives you a really good blend of skills to take into whatever career it is that you want to eventually go on to pursue. Okay, next slide, please. So this is just an idea about our location in London. Hopefully those of you that will that make an application to come and join us in 2022 will be joining us on campus. So this is our central London campus, and you can see on there that there's a number of kind of different buildings and such that we have situated right on the Thames. For business students, you'll want to look at number 2, which is Bush House, which is just in Aldwych, just north of Waterloo. That's where the business school is based. And most of your teaching will be around Strand campus, so that kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 area up there, just north of the river. And a little bit south of the river as well, maybe 6 or 7 as well. These are kind of around there. That's where your kind of Waterloo campus is. Number 10 over there. You'll have a little bit of teaching there, but mostly kind of that north part of the river. That's where you're going to be having most of your teaching. So next slide, please. Okay, so undergraduate courses. Just going to quickly go through the courses undergraduate that we have on offer, a couple of details about each, and then we'll move on to postgrad. Great. So there's actually 2 courses missing from this. We actually do offer business management, international management, and we have accounting and finance and economics and management. So they're the key ones that we offer at undergraduate level. So if we just go next slide, please. Okay, so I'll start with business management. So business management is our kind of flagship undergraduate business program, and it's probably the broadest of all the degrees that we have on offer. So we have it will give you the widest range of study areas, and business management is a kind of internationally recognized undergraduate degree in a lot of ways, in that it's a lot of universities offer it. It's a very competitive program. Now with ours, you'll get to study all the key areas that you would expect, kind of accounting, finance, business, entrepreneurship, marketing, all of those areas. They'll all be included. And it's kind of the main program that we offer at undergraduate, but it's certainly not the only one. Now you'll see that it's a duration of 3 to 4 years. And the reason why is because you can take an optional placement or year to study abroad as part of the degree, but it adds an extra year onto your course. So if you want to do a placement year, which is I would definitely recommend looking into, you can take a placement year in your 3rd year, and then you return to King's for the 4th year. Alternatively, if you wanted to do a year's study abroad, you can also do that, and that would also take place in your 3rd year. The only difference would be you can still study abroad on the 3-year course, but you can only study abroad for a semester. You can't study for a full year abroad and not take an additional year. So that is important to bear in mind. But I would definitely recommend making the most of those opportunities if you feel like that's right for you. I think placement years are a really, really good way of getting additional experience and making sure that you've got all the skills you need to succeed in the job market and to kind of access the career that you want. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, accounting and finance. So accounting and finance is our kind of a main undergraduate finance program. And it's a kind of very technology focused program, so it's you'll learn things like there are courses on Python coding, which are ones that are really popular with some of our students. And generally it's focused on the future innovations of the kind of finance industry. So there's a big focus on technology, and it's geared towards the financial challenges of the future. Again, kind of what makes this kind of distinct as well, I find, from a lot of the other undergraduate accounting and finance programs that are available in a lot of universities, is that you can actually take a relatively large proportion of business modules if you would like to. So, accounting and finance, you get a lot of quantitative skills from kind of studying accounting and finance, but actually you've got a big opportunity to focus in on some qualitative skills as well through kind of studying your business modules as well. So it's a little bit more of a balanced degree, and you kind of come out of it with a more rounded education, which I think, in terms of if you want to go into like a kind of management role within finance, those soft skills that you get from studying business and management are really important. So I would definitely, if you're looking at potential career in finance, this could be a really good degree for you. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, economics and management. So again, economics and management is a course that has a 3 to 4 year option, because you can take a placement year with it, much like business management. And it's an integrated joint honours degree, and it's taught by King's Business School. So it's owned entirely by King's Business School. And it's, again, similar to accounting and finance in that it's has a lot of business and economics modules for you to study, sets you up really well in kind of fields where economics is really important. But what's good about it is that it is not a strict 50-50 course. So you don't have to take half economics, half management modules when you get to your final year. It's quite economics focused in the first 2 years. In the final year, if you decide you want to go and study a lot more business, you have the flexibility to be able to go and do that. A lot of courses will lock you into having to do a certain amount of economics modules in your final year, but that's not the case with this course. Your final year is really flexible in terms of what you're allowed to do, which I think is a really good selling point for a lot of this, for this course in particular, especially if you wanted to study economics, but you kind of wanted a little bit more of a rounded skill set and to study a little bit more business. This could be the course for you. So next slide, please. Okay, international management. So international management is a 4-year course. It's a compulsory 4-year course, and that's because the study abroad and placement year is required. So you have to do it. So that's a good thing to bear in mind with this course. Is with the others, the way you have the option to do the placement year if you like. For this one, you have to do the placement. It is a 4-year course, and this course it's similar to our business management course, but it's partially taught with the King's School of Global Affairs. So it's almost like a mixture of a business and international affairs course. So it will look at business much more in the context of kind of the global and international landscape. And you'll get to study things like different emerging markets and all of that kind of stuff as well. So it's a really good management course, and it has a slightly different focus to any of the others that we offer. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, great. So that was our undergraduate portfolio. Now I'll move on to our postgraduate portfolio, and I'll go through everything that we offer. I'm going to have to go through them quite quickly just because of time, because we offer quite a lot of postgraduate courses. But I'll start off with our management courses. We have an International Management MSc, We have a Human Resource Management MSc, Public Policy and Management, and an Entrepreneurship MSc. So I'm going to go through these first. So next slide, please. Okay, so the International Management MSc. Now, this is different to the BSc, and the reason it's different is because all of our masters are what you would call specialist masters. So all of them have an individual area of business that you will go and study in depth. This course is different in that it's a general education, and it's a complete general education in management. To a deeper level than you would get at undergrad. And now the reason that's important is because this course is really well suited for students that haven't studied a business undergraduate degree necessarily, and that they kind of have less than 2 years work experience. That's really who this course is for. It's for students who want to put a management education on top of, say, you maybe studied engineering, maybe you studied a health science, or maybe you studied law, and you wanted to dual skill yourself. This is a really good course to be able to do that. But even if you did do a business undergraduate degree, you could still do this course and get benefit from it. But personally, I think that it's a really interesting course for those who haven't necessarily come from a business background. Next slide, please. So human resource management and organizational analysis. So the HRM course, this is one that is geared towards both kind of graduating undergraduate students and professionals. We have a part-time variant available for professionals so that they can still work while they study for their masters. Or you can do a full-time variant if you're someone who is coming from an undergraduate degree. So we'll move on to public policy management, but human resource management is basically just a course that covers off largely the human resource management area of business. So public policy and management, this is one as well that that has a part-time variant for working professionals, but also a full-time variant for on-campus students. And this one focuses very much on the management of public services and public policy creation. So, how to manage public services, how to make decision-making within public services, and how you can apply management disciplines that you've learned into making decisions within public services. So this is a really interesting course in that regard. So next slide, please. So strategic entrepreneurship and innovation. Now, this course is an entrepreneurship focused course, and it's one that is, it's a newer course that we offer. It's been running for a couple of years now. And I think that people see entrepreneurship and they feel like entrepreneurship is the thing that the course hones in on, but the innovation component is a huge part of the course. How to, thinking about how people arrive at new business ideas, and then all of the different ways that you can take that initial idea into a venture. So, how to fund your venture. There's courses around marketing. There's courses around how to do finance for your venture. All of that kind of stuff is all covered, like studying how businesses finance their ventures and how you bring it from just an idea into a fully fledged business. So next slide, please. Okay, so finance courses. Now, again, we have quite a few available here, and I'll go through them, the kind of differences between each ones, but we have a full finance portfolio that goes into a lot of different finance areas that you'll be able to study while you're here. So if we just go to the first one, please. Okay, so banking and finance. So banking and finance is much like the business management undergrad. It's probably the centerpiece of the portfolio for the finance courses. And the reason why is because it's the most general finance course that we offer in this regard. So you'll kind of study the finance and banking sector as a whole, and all of the different financial instruments that exist within it. Whereas the other master's degrees, they focus on some slightly more nuanced areas, which may align better with your own career objectives. But the Banking and Finance MSc is the most general one that we offer. And it's also the biggest one that we offer as well in terms of intake of students. Okay, so next, please. Okay, so Economics and Finance MSc. So actually, this is the one that Harshita, who is our student ambassador who's with us today, is actually doing. And this course is a new course for last year. We had the first cohort joined us last year, and it's designed to equip you with an economics and the financial skills you need to build a career within those sectors. And what I think is interesting about it is that it's the only kind of economics focused masters that we have at King's, which is a really kind of good selling point in that respect. If you wanted to study economics at a master's level, then this could be a really interesting course for you. The other thing that's quite interesting about it is that it's accessible to quite a wide range of graduates. So if you wanted to get into a finance career, but you didn't necessarily study business, but you had something that was maths based for your undergraduate, so you studied maths or engineering or something maths based, it could be a really good route for you to enter this course and then have a potential finance career at the end of it. So that's kind of some of the key things about that course. So if we move on, please. Okay, so finance asset pricing. Now this one is specifically an investment banking focused and financial markets focused postgraduate degree. So things about determining the prices of assets, and you'll study a lot of kind of things like investment analysis, financial markets, asset prices and returns, risk, portfolio management. It's very investment banking focused, this, because it's all focused around assets. So if you wanted more of a career in investment banking, or particularly I would say a technical career in investment banking, this is one of the ones that I think you would really look at. Now this course, and along with I think the next one, finance analytics, these are both courses that are very they're very rigorous, technical, but also very maths heavy. So I would say you absolutely would need a strong mathematics background if you were going to succeed in these courses. Things like banking and finance, I think you need, if you had an undergraduate business degree, that's enough maths for you to be able to look at that course. But for these, you really need quite a high level of mathematical skill for both asset pricing and finance analytics, which I think is the next one. So if we move on to the next one, so finance analytics again. Now, finance analytics is all about the future of finance, technology, and focus on big data and analytics. The course centers around what data is out there that is available within the finance sector. And there's a huge amount of data is generated every second within the finance sector. And this course is focused around how you can use that data and the analytics that are associated with it. Again, suited to students with really, really strong quantitative skills who want eventually to kind of move into the finance sector. And it has a quite big technology kind of element as well. You get to study a lot of fintech, things like data visualization, robo trading, and kind of algorithmic trading. This is all kind of relatively new advances that you'll get to study in a lot of detail in this course. But again, like I said, it's a very rigorous course on the math side. So it's quite a mathematically difficult one. So we can have the next one, please. Okay, so corporate finance. So corporate finance is kind of taking the knowledge of the finance sector and applying it inward facing rather than outward facing. So it's all about finance and investments in relation to the company or the corporation. So you'll be looking at, we talk about things like balance sheets and budgeting, like financial statements, valuation analysis, all of that kind of stuff. So it's all the stuff that's relevant to corporate finance. So if you're thinking of a finance role, but not necessarily maybe in the finance sector, maybe in a slightly wider sector, if you potentially, maybe you want to be a finance director of a fast-moving consumer goods company, for instance, then this kind of course would give you more of those sorts of skills. So it's applying the principles of finance to the company as an individual. Okay, so next one. And last one, accounting, accountability, and financial management. So this is our kind of, has some similarities with corporate finance, but it has a much stronger kind of accounting component as well. So you'll be kind of looking at things like accountability, corporate governance, and also you'll get to apply the kind of accounting and financial management techniques within a large variety of scenarios. So this course is a little bit more accounting focused, so much as it is largely finance focused. So that could be something that if you thought about a degree in accounting or you wanted to upskill yourself in accounting, this could be a really interesting degree for you. Okay, so if we could have the next one, please. Okay, so this is the last part of our postgraduate portfolio. These are our marketing courses. We have 3 marketing courses available on campus, and there's one, which is on the bottom, is an online course. So if we move on to the first one, please. So digital marketing MSc. So we offer the only Russell Group. We're the only Russell Group university in London to offer a digital marketing master's degree, which is really big for us. But that's a really great thing to think of, because you'll get the London experience of studying here while being able to look at a more specialized digital marketing degree. So this degree is all around digital innovations in marketing, digital marketing, and which for many people kind of consider to be the future of marketing in a lot of ways. As kind of technology becomes more refined, the digital marketing becomes ever more important, and it's also it's also very accessible to smaller companies. So digital marketing, you may not, if you're a small company or a startup, maybe you can't afford to advertise in print or to advertise on TV, or because that's expensive, that costs a lot of money. Digital marketing is a way that, everybody has a phone now, everybody has devices. It's a way you can reach a really broad audience of people. What I would say for this course is that this course is suitable if you've done a business or undergraduate degree in the past, or maybe in marketing, because it will allow you to really hone in on that digital element and upskill yourself if you have a more general marketing background. It's also great for kind of early career marketers who are looking to upskill themselves as well. So if we move on to the next one, please. Okay, so the international marketing. Now, this is a broader marketing degree with an international focus. Now, again, this degree is much like I said, the banking and finance degree and the business management degree. This is a general kind of marketing postgraduate course. Now, you'll get the chance to study a lot of digital stuff within this, but it is a quite broad-ranging course. And for that reason, it's probably less suited to students that have done a lot of marketing study in the past. If you did an undergraduate marketing degree, this maybe isn't the right course for you. You maybe would want to consider digital marketing. But if you are not coming from that background, this can be a really good way to get a really solid foundational marketing education. You can dual skill yourself, and then this will give you a really broad way of getting into a marketing role once you graduate. It's a very much more general course than the digital marketing course, which is very kind of specifically digital. So if you wanted something a little bit more general and a little bit broader, then the International Marketing MSc is probably the one for you. So if we could go to the next one, please. So the Executive International Marketing MSc. Now, this course is exactly the same content-wise as the course we just spoke about, the International Marketing MSc, but it's CIM accredited, it's part-time only, and it's meant for students who are currently working. So this is practitioner focused. So if you currently have a job, if you have a marketing role and you want to explore doing a master's degree, this is this is a part-time course that you can do while you still work. So you can study and work at the same time. The teaching is offered it's offered in block teaching. So that it's taught on a Friday night and on a Saturday and a Sunday. And they're taught in intensive weekend blocks across the term. So you can study, it's really well set up for part-time students, which is why we developed this course in the first place. So if we go to the next slide, please. Okay, so I'm happy to announce that King's Business School for this academic cycle, for 2021, students that are making applications to enroll in 2021, we have a very generous scholarships package available. We want to support the brightest and best students from around the world to further their education. So we've put scholarships of up to £10,000 available for all of our courses. So there are a couple that are £5,000. Most of them are £10,000. We particularly are encouraging applicants from BAME and from those who are from either low income backgrounds or have experienced financial hardship. Although this is not exclusively for those students, we're encouraging those applications. For some courses, you will have to complete an essay along with your scholarship application, and you already need to have an offer from King's in order to apply for a scholarship. So if you make an application to King's and you receive an offer, afterwards you would then be able to apply for a scholarship. It's also worth noting that there are a couple of the scholarships are UK and EU only, so make sure you check the eligibility criteria on the scholarship before you apply. And there's a link there at the bottom, which will kind of show you where you can get postgraduate scholarship information. But like I said, it's important to apply for a course first. Okay, if we could go to the next slide. Okay, great. So I'm just going to hand over to Harshita for a little bit, who can teach you and talk to you about kind of her student experience at King's so far, and take you through a couple of examples with things like careers and student experience. So I'll hand over to you.
Thank you. So hi everyone, I'm Harshita and I'm currently pursuing my master's in economics and finance at King's College London. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my experience at the university and how I'm finding life in London. So there are 3 things that I've highlighted on my slide. The first thing is deciding the university. So something I found difficult was narrowing it down to one university or what the right university is for you. And something that really helped me was making a pros and cons list with the following criteria. Criteria could be anything that you were thinking about. For me, it was about university culture, subject preferences, the location, and access to opportunities. So if you make a list like this and see, which university stands out for you, that really helps in picking university. And for me, I think King stood out with this list that I've made. So, and it's an amazing university. And the next thing that I want to talk a little bit about would be blended learning. Hoping that maybe students who join this year or next year would not have a lot of online classes, and maybe most of it could be offline depending on the situation at that time. But for me, when I started in September, I had a blended learning system. So I had most of my lectures recorded online, and then we prepared on, say, certain topics and met at Bush House to discuss and have tutorials. So I found that really, to be honest, it saved a lot of my time. And the teaching methodologies employed were very flexible. So I had access to a lot of resources to learn, and I was made to feel very comfortable with the situation that was going on. So I think King's handled it really amazingly well. So that I really enjoyed. And also a little bit about the program itself. So I'm pursuing economics and finance, and I think any finance course at the business school will have tons of programming languages to learn, like Python and data and R and MATLAB. So if you're interested in developing your skills, your technical skills, I think these programs are really good, and they can really help also boost your CV, because saying that those skills can really help. And coming to the point about opportunities at the university, specifically careers and networking opportunities. So King's has an amazing career cell, and they genuinely want to help you get a job. So They hold workshop building, skill building workshops, and CV building workshops. So I think that's automatically you'd be enrolled into that once you start your program. And I would recommend that you work on your CV and cover letters from day one, and you keep in touch with the career cells so you know your progress and you know what your interests are, and they can help you better if you let them know from the beginning. So I think the career cell is amazing. They also send you weekly emails about job opportunities and internships that are available. So I think access to opportunities, there are like tons. So keep yourself updated on what's happening and sign up for these things so that you don't miss out on key opportunities. And to network, I would really recommend, or what helped me a lot was joining a society at the university. King's College London has a lot of societies and with different focuses. Like you have one for consulting, you have one for finance, so and you have one that bridges both together. So I think there are lots of societies and a lot of options available, and joining them can give you a great exposure to networking and meeting, say, a future employer or other client, like other companies, and you could build relationships with them, which can help you also boost your career and speed. So that really helped me. And moreover, you'd also meet like-minded individuals, like people who have similar interests with yours. So that could be a really nice way to meet new people as well. So joining societies would be a great thing. And one more thing I would like to add is I know a lot of you are wondering that, London is a very expensive city, and how do you like plan out, or what do you do? Something that really helped me was just coming up with a budget or like a schedule of what I'm going to be doing in the year, just so that I know that I can spend my time with these many activities and also enjoy what the city has to offer, because you're living in an amazing city with tons of activities all the time. So just planning out ahead, coming up with a budget and schedule would really, really help you focus on your academics as well as enjoy extracurricular activities. Just go travel around in the city as well. So yeah, I think this is it from me. And we have like a couple of slides on the societies at university, which I've mentioned. Like, for example, I think it's you have this slide currently lists like the top societies like the Business Club, Enactors, 180 Degree Consulting. And this is not a fully exhaustive list. I think they've mentioned like a few, but there's a lot more, and you could just check the website to see what other societies are there. And then there's about professional development. And let me ask Scott if he wants to like take over with this.
Yeah, sure. So this is so this is like a little bit around what Harshita just talked around in terms of the careers cell and the careers team. So we have a dedicated team of careers consultants at King's Business School that are kind of here to help you achieve the career that you want. So they can set you up so that you know where to look for the right roles, how to apply for things. They can help you with your CV. They can help you with specific applications. And they really enable you to be able to go out and make the most of all of the skills and experience that you have. They can help you with kind of mock interviews and all of that kind of stuff. And like I said, we have a wide range of courses here at King's, and they all, particularly like some of the master's degrees, they can lead you to a lot of different places. So depending on what you study, your career could take you almost anywhere with a degree in business or with a degree in a kind of a business focused subject. And we have that team of people, of careers consultants, who are there to really enable you to be able to succeed as well. Okay, so if we could have the next slide, please. Okay, so in terms of the presentation, that's it for the presentation from the two of us. In terms of key contacts, we have, if you email business@kcl.ac.uk, that comes through to my team in the business school, and we'll be able to answer your questions. If there's anything that we kind of didn't or don't get the chance to cover in today's session and you have additional questions, you can go to there, business@kcl.ac.uk. We also have a service called Unibuddy, which if you go into the King's website, you'll see there's a little pop-up in the right-hand corner that will take you to Unibuddy. That has one of our students from every course is on that platform, and you can message them directly and ask questions all via that platform. Harshita is on there, so if you had any specific questions from her, you can speak to her directly through the Unibuddy platform. But we have students from every course are on that platform. So every course that we offer at King's Business School has a student on Unibuddy that you can go and talk to if you're interested in that course. So that's definitely worth doing as well. And then we also have any admissions queries. So if you're not sure if the subjects that you have quite line up with the degree that you want to do, or you have a question about kind of how, in terms of how to apply, you can go to our self-service portal. The link is there to get in touch with our admissions team, because there are some questions that we may not be able to answer. So those types of questions can go to there. Okay, and I think that is that's the end of our presentation. So I'm sure we can open up to if you have any questions.
Yes. So, well, thank you so much, Scott and Harshita. That was a great session, and I guess you connected really well with the students. So, because we have received a lot of queries, so let's start. Okay. So the first question is, please provide details on how do I get scholarships to get admitted to study at KCL?
Okay, so with the scholarships, basically you need to have an offer from King's first. So you make an application, you receive an offer, and then you'll be able to apply for a scholarship. Some scholarships, so for instance, scholarships on the finance courses, they are offered around what we call academic merit. So that is around your entire profile as an applicant. And then those are awarded on academic merit. There are others. So for instance, on the marketing courses or on the strategic entrepreneurship or the management courses, where you will have to write an essay in order to be as part of your scholarship application. And that essay will be considered as part of your application. So different courses run them in different ways, but that's how you can apply and be in with a chance of being awarded a scholarship.
All right, thank you for the answer. Next question is, what is the difference in international management and entrepreneurship master course that you offer?
Okay, so the difference between the international management course and the strategic entrepreneurship course is that entrepreneurship takes a lot of the same areas that you would study in international management. So general business modules, finance, marketing, accounting, those types of things, but it puts them through the lens of entrepreneurial companies. So companies that either that form as startups, and then look at finance through the lens of something like venture financing, so, or digital marketing within the context of marketing a startup, a small business. It's the types of businesses that you will look at in case studies. So with the International Management MSc, there may be there's all sorts of companies that you may be studying. With the Entrepreneurship MSc, they're much more considered on things like family firms, and kind of the psychology of entrepreneurship, and it looks a lot at the entrepreneur as well. So the entrepreneur as an individual, so the psychology of an entrepreneur, and kind of what makes a good entrepreneur in a lot of ways. What do a lot of them have in common? Identifying those behaviors as well. So they cover similar areas, but the focus is very different between the two.
Right. Next question is, why is that KCL does not provide placement year option?
So I'm not sure which course that pertains to, but we do offer placement years for three of our undergraduate courses. So for business management, economics and management, and international management, all have the option for a placement year at undergraduate level. At postgraduate level, we don't have the placement year set up because for the most part they're all 1 year courses. So if there's not a second year to come back to and complete, but when you've done it, so you do your 1 year masters and then you're finished. It's a September to September. Now there are, I know people sometimes think of placements in the summer, but for postgraduate degrees you're writing your dissertation in the summer because it's usually due in August. So you won't have there won't be the time for you to be able to do a placement as part of it because all of our master's degrees are 1 year. A lot of other ones, in some other universities, they have 2-3 year master's degrees that have placements within them, but you may not want that. That might not be right for you. You may want to just do the 1 year. You may not want to spend, because if you spent 3 years doing an undergraduate degree, 3 or 4 years, you may not want to spend 3 years doing a master's degree. You may only want to spend one. So that's why there aren't placement years on our postgraduate courses.
All right.
Sorry, if I could just add to what Scott had just said. With respect to master's programs, I think if you take any of the finance programs offered at the business school, you do get to do an internship at the King's Investment Fund. So if you're interested in trading and managing a portfolio, like all the finance programs offer an internship that you can do while you're studying. So if you're really focused on getting an internship during your master's degree, but there's only 1 year, this is kind of helpful because it's not very stressful because it's your professors who are going to be managing the fund. But at the same time, it's an actual internship and you get a certificate at the end of it. So that option is still there for the finance programs at this school.
Thank you for the answer. Next question is, my question is to the alumni. How easy is to cope up with first year masters? Share your experience. I think
we don't actually have an alumni on the panel today.
Yeah. So Harshita, this question goes
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. So how
is it, how easy was it to cope up with your first year masters, your 1 year masters? So
okay,
yeah.
So I'm currently in the middle of finishing my semester 1. Since there was a pandemic, my program was extended till December of this year. So so I'm still in semester 1, but I would say that there's a lot to study and the lectures usually aren't very reflective of how much you have to study. So I think you need to come up with a schedule, plan your day so that you don't spend the entire day studying and miss out on exploring London or doing other things that help you. So I think my best advice would be to just come up with a schedule or a timetable for the week to say you're going to be doing all of this. And at the same time, I'm going to keep time for, say, looking for jobs, looking for this thing, or I want to take part in these activities that the university has to offer. Because King's offers a lot in addition to your activities as well. And you'd want to do everything, but you'd be lacking a lot of time. So just coming up with a good timetable for the week would really, really help. And always going through your lectures for that week and not skipping any of them would also really help keep you up to date with what's going on. So yeah, I think that would be my biggest advice.
All right, amazing. Next question is, is getting accommodation difficult? Where did you stay, on campus or off campus?
Yeah, so I'm staying off campus. I've not taken up any of the residencies offered at King's, but they are quite good and it would be good to like check and know the options available. I'm staying off campus, and there are opportunities available as well. So to get a good accommodation near campus. So just look into all the available sites that list properties and things like that if you're looking for an off-campus residence. On campus, I think you could check the website. There's a lot of information on what it's like. So I wouldn't say finding a place to stay here is difficult, but if you do your research, you can get a good place that's not very, very expensive. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the answer, Rishita. Next question is for Scott. Can you please tell the average fee structure of the course and the college accommodation?
So you can find the fees for all of our courses on the associated course page for each degree. They are different for each course, so I wouldn't really be able to kind of go through them and tell you what the fees are for each one, because they are all different. But you can find that information along with the fees for accommodation as well. So just to build a little bit on what Harshita was saying, we do, a lot of master students do opt to go into private accommodation. We do have King's accommodation as well, but a lot of master students may not opt for it. But for undergraduate students, in a lot of cases, they do. So we do have that option available. And again, the accommodation costs are all different depending on which King's residence it is that you stay in. So I would recommend having a look at the accommodation web pages just to see what the relative price ranges are. We have things that that go from like slightly more affordable to much more expensive based on what your budget is. And they are all in different places in London. One thing I would say about accommodation, that I think this often comes as a surprise to people a lot of the time, is that it's a little bit of a misconception that accommodation in London, both King's and private, is always really far away from where you're studying. And I just wanted to contextualize that slightly in terms of that is fairly normal, in terms of that it was probably the closest accommodation that we have to King's is probably around 20 minutes away from campus, which some people will be like, 20 minutes, like that's quite far. But that is, by London standards, that is incredibly close. If you can get anywhere in 20 minutes in London, that is like light speed. That is really fast. So most people who live, work, study in London are kind of living like up to an hour away. So that's another thing that a lot of students that live more centrally, you can get places in 20 minutes and half an hour. And, outside of peak times, you can get around very quickly. But, sometimes you'll be traveling in the rush hour. You may be up to an hour away. So it's just important to know that up front as well, that I think a lot of students expect everything, because it's a university campus, everything is really, really close together. That's not always the case. But the flip side of that is the benefit is that you get to experience much, much more of the city. You don't just experience the bit where your campus is. It opens so much more of the city up to you. So for me, I think that personally is a really big benefit. But it's just important that students bear that in mind, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the answer. Next question is, please tell about the job opportunities available after pursuing the master degree.
Yeah, so again, it depends largely on the master's degree that you've opted to study. And like I said, there are all of our masters are the predominantly specialist masters, so they do point you in a career direction while you're doing them. So if you were going to do the corporate finance MSc, like that's one that sets you up for a wide range of internal finance roles within companies, rather than a role maybe in an investment bank. That doesn't mean that you couldn't do the corporate finance degree and end up working in an investment bank, but that's where the degree kind of points you to. If you did banking and finance or asset pricing, they are much more set up for you to go and work in an investment bank, because that is largely what you would study. So it really depends on which masters you're taking. But generally speaking, master's degrees are great for kind of your first entry level career jobs as well. They can really help you get ahead of the crowd of people who are applying in that case. But where I'd say they become even more valuable is once you get further into your career as well. They open a lot of doors for you. So if you're getting to a point where you're later in your career, you've already done your master's degree and you have professional experience, I think that opens more doors for you kind of further down the cycle, rather than you having to work and then either work and study at the same time to get your master's degree, or take time out to do a master's degree and lose potentially maybe a year of work, which people do. Some people do that, but they can be really valuable for opening opportunities later on as well. And the benefit of doing it after your undergraduate degree is that you don't have to then take any time out of your career later on to do it. Not that that's a bad thing. A lot of people do that. But maybe that's not right for you. Maybe that's not what you actually would want to do. So, there's that to consider as well.
Okay.
If I may address the fees query, just to add on to what Scott had said. I mean, just as Scott explained that different courses have different fees. Just to give you an idea that at the undergrad level, let's say a BSc in international management would cost around £28,000 plus. At the postgrad level, the management marketing courses would cost you around £31,350 or so. And the finance courses are slightly higher than that, say about £35,500. So of course there are more courses, and you should definitely look at the website of the course pages to get the exact figure.
All right, thank you. Next question is, I have done bachelor's in accounting and I have 58% with 4 years or relevant accounting experience. So would I be eligible?
I'll assume that we're talking about the accounting, accountability, and financial management degree here. That's an interesting one, because that's, I'd say, a fair bit of experience. If you've done an accounting undergraduate degree and you have 4 to 5 years of professional experience, that's quite a lot of experience. But again, like I said, these master's degrees can open doors for you later in your career as well. So if you feel like it's a good time for you to do a master's now, then maybe that's a course that you would like to consider with a master's level education. What I would recommend is that you speak to the unibody for accounting, accountability, and financial management. I believe her name is Ariadna. I think that's her. So you could speak to her. And also, if you email the admissions team, they have a really deep understanding of the entry requirements for every course. So they will be able to tell you how well your experience aligns with the degree that you eventually want to do, or whether you should probably consider a different course or a different route. So in that case, that's what I would recommend.
All right. So next question is digital marketing or international marketing? Which course is better?
I mean, I suppose that's how long is a piece of string. There is no such thing as better. There's just whether something is more suited to you as an individual or not. So it's quite a hard question to answer if you don't know anything about the individual. But digital marketing, if you already have some marketing knowledge and experience and you want to specialize in digital, that's probably more aligned as the right course with you. If you have no marketing experience at all, international marketing is probably the one that is better suited for you. That seems quite black and white, but you can also go and do digital if you if you don't have as much experience. But I think if you're coming at it from, you don't really have any marketing background at all, international marketing is definitely the right option for you. If you have experience, then you would need to look at the modules that are offered between the international and digital courses, and then see what aligns with where your own knowledge gaps are, the things that you want to really focus on and learn, things like that. So that's what I would say for those two courses.
I think also, Scott, it also depends on where you see yourself after the course. I mean, what kind of organizations you want to work with. If you have an interest in the digital marketing space, then maybe you can straight away do a digital marketing program. Or if not, then maybe stick to international marketing. So I guess where is it that you want to work also could play a role in this decision.
Absolutely. Next question is also, our students are allowed to work part-time?
Yeah, so a lot of students do have part-time jobs. Actually, it's quite common for students, both undergraduate and postgraduate level, to have part-time jobs while they study. I don't think you would want to do anything really above kind of 20 hours a week, really part-time outside of your studies, because that's when you're kind of getting into, they'll be interfering with your studies. I probably wouldn't recommend anything above that, really. But yeah, it's completely, that opportunity is open. So for instance, our student ambassador scheme that we have, that Harshita is a part of, is a form of part-time work. So sometimes there's more work, sometimes there's less, but it's very flexible. So that's kind of, you have that route option is open to you as well.
All right. Well, this is the last query. When should I apply for my undergrad course at KCL for admission in 2022?
So the application deadline for admission in 2022 for undergraduate is January 2022. So we enroll students in September. Applications open in September 2021. So that's September of this year, and they'll close in January of 2022. So there's a 4-month or 3.5-month application window for you to actually submit your application. Now, obviously, before September, you have a whole bunch of time between now and September to think about which course you want to do, to work on your personal statement, to think about which university you want to go to, make all of those decisions. So you have plenty. What I'm trying to say is you have plenty of time. You have up until January of next year to make your application for undergraduate for 2022. So you've got a whole lot of time to think about exactly which course is right for you, where you want to study, like which university, which city, all of that kind of stuff. There's plenty of time for you.
All right. So we have one more, I guess this is the last one. I have completed my undergrads in the year 2013, and I have 3 years of work experience. So is it possible to get admission for international business management?
So I would say for that course, that's probably a bit too much work experience, only because that course typically tends to be best suited for students that are coming either from an undergrad to a postgrad, or that students that have got a bit of work experience, kind of really under 2 years. Anything over 2 years, that course is not really suitable. But what I would recommend is to maybe think about, depends on what your experience is in, but maybe if you have a specific career path in mind, one of the specialist masters may be a much better fit for you. It depends on if you wanted to do a more general business degree, or if there's kind of something more specialist that you wanted to think about. I would say for the International Management MSc course, 3 years is probably too much experience, I would say.
All right. So this was the last question. And thank you so much, Scott, Dolan, and Harshita, And thanks a lot for putting together all the key points, providing expert guidance to interested Indian students. And I'm also positive that this session will be of great help to all. And we look forward to more of such interactive engagements between King's College London and SI UK India. Thank you so much for being here.
Great, thank you.
So anything you would like to add, Dolan, Harshita, Scott?
Yeah, I just like to add.
Go on, darling.
Just wanted to convey to the attendees that please also feel free to reach out via email to the India office, and our email ID is india@kcl.ac.uk. So it's a simple email ID, india@kcl.ac.uk.
All right. So thank you, Scott. Thank you, Dolan. Thank you, Harshita. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.